Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. My name's Jonathan, as always joined by the Masters crew here with me. Got Al, the Doc, John Beast. What's up, guys?
How we doing, everyone?
Yeah, real good. I'm back at you guys with another trade show. We're talking about guys we think you should go get prior to free agency opening up. Also going to talk about perhaps what you might have to pay for some of these guys. Right before we jump into it, MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com, home to over 600 Dynasty leagues. We're filling up fresh Dynasties now, so if you're looking to jump into a league, we got them. With that said, let's jump right into this. Al, you're going to start us off today with a guy you think we should go get.
Absolutely. So, our last show we talked a lot about running backs. I think we're going to change it up a little bit this one. I got tight end Hunter Henry. He just came out the other day, said he really wants to play with a good quarterback, which I actually think he has one with Justin Herbert.
That's
and I don't think he was knocking Justin Herbert. I think he was saying he's open to re-sign there. But regardless, if he goes somewhere else, he's looking to play with a good quarterback, which naturally means his fantasy spot should be good if he's going to sign somewhere with a good quarterback. I'd like to think, he's going to put up some good numbers. We loved him as a prospect. Just kind of had some injuries early on. Was even sitting behind Antonio Gates for a little while, which seems like a lifetime ago. I know, like it was always like, once Antonio Gates retires, Hunter Henry will take off.
Right.
But just kind of has always battled injuries, and we know the tight end position can sometimes take a little while to get going. But I think this is finally Hunter Henry's chance to either re-sign in LA or go somewhere else. But regardless, I think he's a guy you can get for relatively cheap. I actually just, before the show, for fun, threw out a trade for him. Offered Irv Smith in a second rounder for him. I don't think it'll get accepted, but he's not a guy I'd give a first for. But
Is it a high second or?
It's actually 2022 second.
Okay.
But I think a decent player in a second could be a nice.
Because Irv Smith's got good potential too.
Right?
So
Another young
maybe.
tight end. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of depends what their situation is.
Right.
So I don't hate that offer.
Yeah, I don't think it'll get accepted, but maybe he'll counter. And like I said, I think a moderate player in a second rounder could be enough to get a.
He's cheap.
Henry.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, I
gotta
think
start
you could
somewhere.
possibly get him for a second. I think he's probably worth a late first, though.
Yeah.
He's probably worth it, but at the same time, with the injury history.
And owners are frustrated with him because the same guy. I remember I was talking to him. It's Matt Ryan.
Oh yeah.
And it was like midway through the season, and he had Hurst and Hunter Henry, and I was kind of feeling offers, and he made it sound like he really didn't love either one of them. Which at the time I didn't feel like making a deal with him, but now I kind of want Hunter Henry, so we'll see if he gives him.
I gotta tell you, I think a first is too much.
I agree. I know you think I'm cheap, but
I think
I'm just cheap.
A second. I think.
I just don't think I'm letting him go for a second.
Yeah.
He's too young.
Yeah.
That's fair. And like I said, I don't expect it to accept it, but I wouldn't give a first.
Yeah, I wouldn't give a first either.
I'm thinking a deal I would like maybe taking an older tight end.
Yeah.
And trying to maybe giving up like an Ertz in a second.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Hey, I guess I have a question.
I have Ertz in this league too. Maybe I try
there
that.
you go.
Like, is there a better situation than with Justin Herbert?
What about Indy with Wentz?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Be the new Ertz.
I think I'd rather
that.
have him with Herbert.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
maybe.
because he's so young.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go up a first for him, and I wouldn't want to let him go for a second. So
I was gonna say
it's one of them guys right in the
you
middle.
kind of need like a decent player in a
Yeah.
second, someone they feel good about.
But I agree with you on that one.
Me too.
I like that.
I like it. I'll jump into one of my guys here. And I actually think he's the best number 3 wide receiver in the NFL. I think stats back that up. And I always like to ask these guys questions, put them on the spot. What team do you think I'm talking about?
Tampa Bay.
That's a good one because I have been saying that's the best wide receiving
I was
core.
say Antonio Brown.
No, it's not. He'll get this one.
Me?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go through every team.
I'll say this. They had 3 wide receivers finish.
Dallas.
They had 3 wide
Michael
receivers.
Gallup.
No, 3 wide receivers finished in the top 26 last year. The only team to do it.
Really? Okay.
All right, I'll get up. The number 26 wide receiver in fantasy scoring in our leagues last year, Curtis Samuel.
Oh,
you even told us before the show.
Wait a second.
That's what all 3 of them.
I forgot
all 3.
Yeah, Robbie, DJ.
Wow.
And he was actually third
Wow.
and finished at 26. If you think about that, it pretty much makes him a every week starter. If you got 12 teams, they all start 2. That's 24 guys. And here's a guy just been looking at it. And there's another stat I see too. He finished in top 5 in touches last year at the wide receiver position too, with the 40 carries, and the only wide receiver last year to get a carry in every single game. And you know, he's still 24 years old, and here's a guy that this is what I want to say about Curtis Samuel. I think he has potential to be the best number 2 wide receiver in the league wherever he goes. Like I don't quite see him as a 1, but I also see him as a guy that has the potential to be a low end 1 or a really high 2.
I just thought of a landing spot for him in free agency that I absolutely love.
San Francisco.
Yeah, he had a couple years at Ohio State with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, there you go.
They could use another, weapon in that offense. We know Curtis Samuel's played a little running back. James Robinson's a great between the tackles early down back, but they maybe could use a more electric pass catcher guy like Curtis Samuel. Use him in all ways. I don't know.
Yeah, he
Like
could do it all. I mean, a great
Yeah.
slot receiver. I mean, one stat that I seen, this year, I think his average yards per catch had fell to like 6 yards. If you go back 2 years ago, it was like 15 yards. So he does have the ability to stretch the field. He has the ability to make the catches tough in the slot. He's a guy I really like, and I feel like most people don't even realize that he finished so high. I mean, on that team. I mean, to finish 26, I was a little shocked too. I just think he's a guy, and I also think he's a guy you don't have to pay a ton for. Again,
What do you think you gotta get paid for?
a second rounder should move the
I think
needle.
you're right. That'd be
I would
for
think
sure.
immediately.
Yeah.
And to me, he's a guy you could have as a high end number 2, and by the numbers at 26, probably should have been a starter in every league last year.
I actually don't think you could get him for a second.
You know?
Yeah,
Well,
like if I had him, I don't think I'd give him up for a second. Maybe 2
Well,
seconds.
see, I disagree. I feel like if I got an offer for a second round pick, I wouldn't even think.
I
Yep,
would
second
too.
Really?
I would.
And I think he's better than that, but I just think.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about wide receiver 26. He's.
I feel like in my
25
head I
years
can
old,
kind
Yeah,
of be
young
like,
guy,
well,
yeah.
all right, he produced at a higher level, probably because
Yeah.
he got more running back touches with McCaffrey on,
Yeah.
all that stuff. I could play it off in my head and just be like, okay, sure, give me the second round pick.
You were thinking about T. Higgins and
Yeah.
Chase Claypool.
Yeah,
and
that's true. I mean, there's
Small,
definitely guys you can get the second round.
Brandon Ayuk. Think all these
Exactly.
guys that came in the second round
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just and hearing you say that kind of surprised me that you
Yeah.
wouldn't have given him up, because I feel
Yeah.
like most guys would. But I'm with you. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I see a lot of potential there, depending on where he lands. I mean, and another possible situation is, a lot of people are talking about Deshaun Watson in Carolina.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
that certainly would
That,
hurt him.
I was saying that when the Deshaun Watson rumors first started. Carolina was my favorite.
Me
spot.
too, and that's
Yeah.
one other thing I want to add about Curtis Samuel too is he hasn't had the greatest quarterback play. Last year, probably, he got to play with his best quarterback so far in Bridgewater. His numbers spiked. It helped him out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, you like that, don't you?
yeah. I will say too. What do you think if he does stay in Carolina? What do you think about McCaffrey coming back?
It concerns me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather him go somewhere else as like a legitimate 2.
Right.
But I do think he's a guy that has the potential to be a low end 1 too, and I think you can get him for next to nothing. For me, I'd be going to look at Curtis Samuel. He's electric and he's a playmaker.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those guys that's a really, really good football player, and when it comes to fantasy, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I mean, he's young and he's got the potential to grow into something a little more consistent than what he's been thus far.
But I have to admit, I'm a little worried about him as a 4
Yeah.
in Carolina, because that's where he slides to.
Yeah.
Probably 4th. Although I'm not completely sold on Robbie.
Yeah, I'm not
Anderson
sold on Robbie
myself.
Anderson too, but he sure
Right.
did produce last year.
I wouldn't give a ton up for him, but I even think that possibly like 2/3 could move the needle for some guys.
Or a late second.
Or a late second, yeah.
2022 second.
Right, or even a 3rd this year and a 3rd in 2022. I
Yeah.
think guy pulls the trigger.
Yeah, I think it's very possible for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, he's got that 1 year. And besides that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go next, and this one, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Allen Robinson. I mean, we know he's either on the move or hopefully not, but maybe going back to Chicago. We'll see. I mean, he's one of those guys. Oh yeah, he's one of those guys that's probably, and I think I've said this before. He might be the most underrated receiver in the NFL. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. And I was just talking to these guys before. I had seen a couple of stats recently that I know the one was like most 20-plus yard catches in the last like decade, roughly. It was like him, Calvin Johnson, and Tyreek Hill. So top 3 in that category. and I already forget what the other one was.
Contested
Oh,
catches.
contested catches, yeah. He was number 1 in contested catches since like 2018, I think. And these are just huge, huge stats to be like in the top 3 in, and you would have never thought. He's one of those guys. He just does all these things quietly. He's a killer, but it's quiet. You don't really see it because part of the fact is he's in Chicago and he's got to deal with that quarterback situation there, which is why I hope he doesn't end up back there. But also for that reason, I feel like you might be able to get him at a touch of a discount on the off chance he goes back. You're kind of playing with fire there, or on the chance he goes to a place like, I don't know, the Jets, somewhere that's not super exciting. But the dude, like I said, one of the most underrated receivers in the league. He's
maybe
legit,
ever. That's what I keep
Yeah,
thinking.
he's,
maybe ever.
He is a legit star and doesn't
Yeah.
get treated like
At
such.
all.
He's a 1,000-yard machine. He's going to produce, whether he goes back to Chicago, whether he goes to the Jets, doesn't really matter. He's probably going to produce at a high level. So, now's your chance to go get him and then hope that you get a little lottery ticket and he ends up in a great offense where he can finally just be the star that we all know he actually is.
He is a star. He's a star right
absolutely.
now.
But and not to put you on the spot, John, but I don't think you're alone in that. You had said earlier, like, wait, that's the same Allen Robinson?
I know. You're
Yeah.
right.
Jacksonville.
Embarrassed.
I made a trade in one of our leagues last year. I think it was with you.
Yeah.
I'd given up like maybe the 1.8 pick or something
I traded him for like a
for Allen Robinson, and you had texted me later that day, like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, well, wait a minute, Allen Robinson. Last year I started throwing his stats out. You were a little shocked by that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, when the trade was offered to me, I was a little like I had to go look it up and see how good he did. I was like, wow. And also, here's a guy that's done it in 2 systems, subpar quarterback play.
Very subpar.
I always look at DeAndre Hopkins as a guy that can do it with anybody.
Yeah.
You have to put him in that list. You just have to.
Absolutely. He's made Mitch Trubisky, Blake Bortles look good.
Were you a little disappointed in DeAndre Hopkins last year?
We tailed off.
I'll say a little bit,
Tailed
yeah,
off.
because he started off like a
Week
ball
1,
fire.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But then, he did. He tapered off a little
A
bit.
little bit, yeah.
So while we were talking here, I thought this isn't my main guy. This is a guy that I thought of, and he's always been hurt a little bit, but he's really produced. But he's produced some, a hit and miss, but he's not hurt if he plays.
Mm.
With Carson Wentz going to Indianapolis, I was thinking about Jack Doyle. Mo Alley Cox, I think he's old, he's a free agent, and who's the other guy?
Until Hunter Henry gets there.
Yeah, well, that was what you said, Hunter Henry, but
Jack Doyle, no, I like
Carson
the
loves
Maybe
Jack
Ertz falls in
Yeah.
there, honestly.
Yeah, I hope Ertz falls in there.
Me too. There's been a lot of talk about them trying to trade for Ertz, like almost in the same trade, getting one next
Yeah.
together. But obviously that didn't happen.
Right.
They could still add.
But yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the guy I was thinking was Brandin Cooks.
Yeah.
Brandin Cooks has produced the last 6 years. He got 5,000 yard receiver, 5,000 yard seasons.
Right,
And
yeah.
1 year was hurt. But the amazing thing was he did it with 4 different quarterbacks on 4 different teams.
Yeah.
And that means it doesn't really matter where he is. He's
I've
gonna
never,
do it.
Exactly.
I've never seen a player's value drop so much from like year 5 to year 7 in his career than Brandin Cooks. This was a guy, like you said, his first 4 years,
Yeah.
1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard seasons with all different quarterbacks, then has one injury-prone season, and just everybody forgets about him.
It's
And-
strange
yeah.
that a guy that's been that good and that consistent has been traded around so much
Yeah.
in the actual NFL.
I know, it's
Like,
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like he can't stay on a team. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like why
And he
not?
seems like a real good guy, too.
I know.
I've always liked him. I don't see why, but
But I think if I was trading for him, if I was contending, I was trading for him, I think I'd get him for a 2nd round pick.
Probably.
And if I was trading him away, I think I'd go for a 2nd round pick for 2021, 2022. 2022.
yeah.
Okay.
I think that'd be
Yeah.
easy to do.
No, I actually think he's a good value. I just want to draw the line because we had just said Allen Robinson, was able to do it with multiple He did have some really good quarterbacks. To be
Well,
fair,
yeah, that's true.
Drew Brees, Tom Brady,
Yeah, I mean,
Those guys stink.
Deshaun Watson, yeah. Just to
Jared
be
Goff.
Jared
fair,
Goff.
because you just keep throwing it out like he's played with all these different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Well,
Why is
Yeah.
Jared Goff? You know what? The thing,
Yeah.
remember when Jared Goff not last year, but the year before, he had Cooks and he had
Maybe Cooks made
Woods and
Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cup, yeah.
and Cup, and they were all top 24.
I know, that was a crazy.
that's a good point, though.
Those were the years where Gurley was like legit too. So
What?
that offense was
Like, what do all those guys have in common? Brady, Breeze, Watson, Cooks.
Brandin
man.
Cooks. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
What about anybody have any quarterbacks?
Oh,
So I've got a really low flyer sneaky
don't
one.
you do it. Say it. Go ahead.
Who's not going?
Say
You
it.
go first.
Marcus Mariota.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
That's fine.
Which actually, maybe this should have been on our bold take show, but I already slipped it, so I'll just put it here.
That's a good one.
I have this weird feeling your week 1 starter for the New England Patriots is going to be Marcus Mariota.
Ooh.
Weird, just mark it down. I got a weird feeling. I keep reading that they've inquired about every quarterback who's rumored to be available. We've seen, Stafford and Goff traded. We've now seen Wentz traded. And now there's a lot of rumors that Mariota could be the next to go. And I think Mariota to the Patriots is going to happen. They kind of tried it last year with the mobile quarterback with Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. So I think you could get Mariota. Well, he's probably a free agent, honestly, in most of your leagues.
I'm
but-
scratching my head. Why are they moving on from Cam again? What did I miss with that? Because I'd still want Cam as my starter.
I didn't like the way they used him.
Yeah.
They used him like he was 24-year-old Cam.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he could really. I don't know what he's got throwing the ball because I feel like they
I mean,
just.
that's what I'm getting at with Cam. I mean, he had them, looking pretty good midway through the season.
Yeah,
And some of the
something happened.
weapons he had down
Yeah.
there. Like, hey, I don't know. I just wouldn't give up on Cam. I know you guys seen that video this weekend.
Yeah, the
too.
Cam prep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's funny because the quarterback I was thinking of, he's going to be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, and it's going to be Jacoby Brissett.
Oh,
He's
wow.
going back to
Wow,
New
I
England.
like that.
They send him out of Indianapolis. They bring in Wentz. He's free. He's going to New England, reunited with that whole staff.
I like
Some
that better.
familiarity. There you go. Thank you.
What about boy? This is just a little 25-second thing to throw it in there. But what about Jameis Winston?
He was on my list too.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That's another one. I mean, he's right.
He very well
I
could
think
be
he's getting
starting.
him for. You might be able to get him for a third. He might be under waiver wire.
Yeah,
I think
honestly.
all
now.
3 of those guys are probably on your waiver wire.
Yeah, and Winston to me has the most value because
Yeah,
I mean, we
I-
know
I
if he
agree.
gets a starting job, who cares? He's going to throw it a zillion times, and he doesn't care what happens. But I mean, he led the league in passing yards 2 seasons ago just because he stunk so bad. He'd throw so many picks, he'd have to keep throwing touchdowns and yards to get him back into these games.
It-
It was a
so-
fantasy
yeah.
dream.
And one thing I want to add on Winston too, I know he's like the butt of a bunch of jokes. I mean, sometimes, here's a guy, that's been catered to his whole life. Like sometimes that little bit of humble pie
Yeah.
can really help a guy out, man. And I'm not predicting the future because obviously I don't know. But I think Jameis Winston sitting behind Drew Brees, having to eat a little bit of that humble pie, probably for the first time ever in his life. Probably I think that's really going to help him out in the long run.
Honestly, yeah.
I just think next time he gets that starting job, next time he's out on the field, that short leash, once you've been yanked by it, that's always in the back of your mind, man. And I expect when Jameis Winston gets another job for him to look a little smarter out there. I do.
In a startup draft, where let's say everybody drafts 2 quarterbacks, or 24 quarterbacks get drafted, and I'm sure there'll be more than that, but let's just say it's 24. Do you think Brady gets drafted
In the Dynasty League?
in a dynasty?
Yeah, I think
Maybe
they absolutely
late, yeah.
take him late.
I'd take him
mean,
as my second quarterback, maybe.
we
A third.
We got a
roster 3.
we got a bold take show coming up. You guys want to check that out? I mean, I've been, Tom Brady all day was a guy I was tossing around in my head like, how high would I go with Tom Brady next year?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look how they finished the season, things started out a little, rocky,
Yeah.
but once they got, and then imagine a healthy Chris Godwin
Yeah, AB
Yeah.
all year.
all year. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't.
Gronk again.
It just
Yeah.
OJ Howard will be
OJ
back.
Howard.
I remember everybody in the middle of the season said for Tom Brady didn't know what down it was.
Yeah.
That was that one.
Yeah.
One game he
Again.
actually forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching.
It
It was
cost
like
him,
a Thursday,
right?
Sunday night, Monday night, or Thursday
Yeah.
night game. He truly thought it was like third down.
Hey,
and fourth
we
down.
have that happens to me
Yeah.
too.
When he wins
Yeah.
7 Super Bowls, you get a play that you can forget about.
All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I think that's it.
No.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you could, hit the like and subscribe button. Love for you to come be a part of the Masters family with us. Also, we're filling some fresh Dynasty Leagues. You're looking to hop in one, mastersfansfootballleagues.com. Thanks, guys.
Oh.